Monica and welcome back to my channel. So it's a new month and that means we're going to play with another sketch from Call Me Crafty Owl, and her design sheets are called Sheet Loads of Cards. So you probably have seen many designers use this Sheet Loads of Cards design this month because I'm a little bit late this month getting to it. But I definitely wanted to play with it because I love this design. It's a very simple design and I think anybody can make some beautiful cards with it. All you need is 3 different types of cardstock and a focal point. And of course, if you want to add a sentiment, that's available as well. So let me go ahead and flip my camera down so we can take a look at the design this month, and we'll get started on our sheet load of cards designs. All right, so here's the sketch sheet. And as you can see, like I said, this design is very simple. All you need are 3 different colored of pattern paper, and then your base, and then some sort of ephemera or die cut, and then a little strip for your sentiment. So it's very simple. Now, when she starts out, she recommends using 6x6 pattern paper, 8.5 by 11 solid cardstock, and then another 8.5 and 11 solid cardstock. But I kind of mix it up. I always use this as a starting point. I don't necessarily follow it exactly. So let me show you what I did. So I love paper packs that already come with paper that's matching. And I knew I wanted to do a black and white card because I've got some new ephemera pieces from Tim Holtz that I've been wanting to use. And when I saw this paper stack, and I just pulled it right out of my stash, it was perfect for the design because it already has coordinating black and white paper that will work perfectly for this card. Now the ephemera pieces that I'm going to use is this set here, and I picked up this set, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and as you can see, it has some wonderful black and white images. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with these, but I knew I wanted to play with them, and they turned out to be perfect for this design. Additionally, I had a die in my stash that worked out to be perfect for my sentiment piece. So I just went ahead and I pulled this out. And this is really all I'm going to need other than some of my adhesive that I'm going to use to glue down my cardstock. And then, of course, some white card bases to finally adhere my card on. Now, the different thing that I did for my sheet loads of cards is after I had the panel, which is this one here, and this panel measures, it's the CS1, 3.5 by 4.75. It was a little bit smaller and it had too much white space showing on my card. So I decided to add another layer, and I'll show you what I mean when I actually get into the cards. So that's the little difference that I did on this particular design. So really, like I said, all you need is 3 different types of coordinating pattern paper, some sort of focal point, and then your piece for to hold your sentiment. So let's go ahead and cut out all the paper and we'll jump right in. Okay, so I have everything cut out that I need. I cut out my designer paper here, which measures 1 inch by 4.5. And then I cut out my sentiment pieces. Now the sentiment piece on the sheet load of cards is designated as a size of 3.5 by 0.75, it looks like. But I'm actually using this die here for my sentiment. And the reason that I'm using this die is because I had a specific sentiment sheet that I wanted to use, and this is the one that I wanted to use. And as you can see, these are really thin sentiments, so I didn't want my piece to be too big, so that's why I decided to go smaller. But certainly if you want to follow the sheet load of cards, then the size you're going to want to use for your sentiment is your 3.5 by 0.75. All right, and then I cut out my base of my card, and the base of my card is designated for 3.5 by 4.75, and I didn't change that. But what I did add to the design is I added another layer because I wanted to layer my designer piece that I'm going to decorate onto another cardstock before I actually add it to my card base. So that's the added part that I inserted. So let's go ahead and put these cards together. Okay, so to show you what I'm going towards here is this, and I've already put one together. I put this together before I actually started filming because I wanted to go ahead and try out the design. And that's when I decided to add this extra layer of the black cardstock, just because I felt that there was too much white border for my preferences. So I've got my three panels here, which are the black and the white. And then this is my focal point, which is I'm pulling right out of here, which is perfect for a black and white card. And then, of course, the stamp set that I showed you I'm going to use. I went ahead and I used these strips here to add to my layers. And then I stamped my sentiment. So this is the design that we're going for. So let's go ahead and see if we can put these together. So I have several different designer paper here, so I'm just going to mix and match. I don't really have a preference in mind. I want to have a card set that is similar to design, but aren't exactly all the same. So I'm just pulling 3 strips out here, and I'm just going to start gluing these. And I'm going to do this kind of like an assembly line. I'm going to do all of my panels first, and then I'll add my focal point, my ephemera piece. And it's really nice if you cut out your cardstock or your designer paper ahead of time, because then, like I said, you can kind of do it like an assembly line, and it will go together, I believe, relatively easily. Now, if you're not familiar with Call Me Crafty Al, she does do, like I said, a sheet load of cards design every month, and I'll make sure that I link her video in my description box. So if you want to play along monthly with her designs, you'll be able to do that as well. I discovered her channel from one of my crafty friends, Biddy Penny, and I loved how she had a different design each month to put together some easy cards. And additionally, it's a great way to use up your cardstock. So as you can see, these panels are going together pretty easily. So if you need to make some cards, and these could be different types of cards. They don't necessarily have to be romantic. They could be birthday cards. They could be anniversary cards. I mean, black and white cards are universal, and you can use those for so many different occasions. They're just really nice to have on hand. And I'm just going to continue to add these. All right, so I was able to put together 3 panels here fairly quickly, and now we're going to go ahead and add our piece to be able to stamp our sentiment. Now, one thing that I did on my test card is I did get one of my ink daubers here, and as you can see, it already has plenty of ink on it, and I just added some highlights to go around it. Now, since it is a black and white design, you are completely fine in leaving it white, but I wanted to go ahead and just add some highlights to the edges. And as you can see, it's not taking very much ink. I am just working off of the ink that's already on this dauber. Okay. So before I actually glue down these strips, I want to go ahead and see if I can figure out what ephemera pieces I'm going to be using without making a complete mess. So since I did have a butterfly design on some of these, I know that this set does have some butterflies. So let's see if we can maybe find some of those. And lo and behold, there's one right there. All right, so we can easily add this. And let's see what else we have. That's cute. Like I said, I'm going for designs here that it's a similar card design, but not necessarily the same card. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish today. And I have to also be aware that the bigger my ephemera piece, I'll have less room for my sentiment. So I'm trying to keep that in the back of my mind as well. All right. So these are all different sizes. I have one that's a little bit long and thinner. I have this lady here, and then I have a butterfly. So I think I'm going to go ahead and work with this. So now I'm going to go ahead and just glue down my sentiment sheet, or strip I should say. And then I'm going to actually pop up my ephemera pieces. All right, so I have my sentiment strips glued down. Before I actually add my focal points, I am going to mat my card. And the reason that I do that is, if you can see on my first sample here, I do have my sentiment kind of coming off of the white. So I want to make sure that I have my back panel exactly how I want it before I add my focal piece, just in the event I do have to have it come off the white cardstock just a little bit. So we're going to do that first. And like I said, I already had all of my panels pre-cut, so I would highly recommend, if you are doing several cards like I'm doing today, it's always nice to have all of your images and your panels cut out ahead of time, so that way you can just focus on the design without having to stop and cut additional paper along the way. All right, so we have our panels layered now, and now we can go ahead and add our focal points. So there's a few ways you can do this, right? You can either put it on the left or the right. If you put it in the middle, you might be having some problems adding a sentiment, but certainly there's lots of ways you can mix it up. And then, of course, if you want to have more room, if I put this butterfly this way, I'm limiting my amount for my sentiment, but if I just off-center it a little bit, that does give me a little bit more room. So I think I'm going to take that into consideration. And since I am going for a black and white card, I won't be coloring up these images, but if you decided you wanted to perhaps add some color to yours, you can certainly do that as well. These particular images are from the Tim Holtz Ideology collection, and they're something that I've seen out there. I really hadn't played with them, and I wanted to do that, and that's why I went ahead and thought that they would be perfect for this design. And then for this last one, I think I'm going to go ahead and put this on the right side, just to cover up some of my smudges here. All right, now it's time for my sentiments. So let's go ahead and see what we have to work with. Now, of course, I'm going to have to take into consideration how much room I have. So I think probably just one life would work here. This one is a little bit longer. Let's see. Don't forget to fly. Let's see if maybe that will fit. That kind of works. See, that's not going to quite work with that one. So perhaps, let's see, what else do I have here that would work? It's all perspective. That might work here. Yeah, that would work there. And go see and explore maybe. Or, you know what, limited edition I think would fit. I love this sentiment sheet because there's so many choices. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so I should say I'm not going to pull out my Misty. I'm going to go ahead and just use this stamping block here because I think I should be able to get a pretty good impression. So let's give it a try. The one thing about these is you want to make sure you don't get any ink on the edges because that will transfer. So that's the main thing about these particular sentiments. And as you can see, it fits perfectly on this strip. And the color that I'm using here is Black Soot from the Archival ink line. I know that Tim just came out with some more colors in his Distress color line, so I'm hoping to be able to add some of those additional colors to my collection. But I love these mini inks. They're just so easy to work with. Okay. So as you can see, these cards came together pretty quickly. The last thing I need to do is, of course, add them to my card base. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. So I'm using my Score Buddy here, and I already cut out my panels. All I need to do is score them. So we can do that relatively quickly. It's such a great design, and I love how easy these cards come together. All right, so I have all of my panels cut and scored, so let's go ahead and get them added to our card bases. So as you can see, this is a great design. It's very simple. It's a wonderful way to use up your cardstock, especially if you have lots of it like I do and you need to use it up. And it creates great cards. I mean, not only can you have additional cards for your stash, you know, just to have on hand for an extra card for us, you know, an occasion, or if you want to put together gift card sets. This is a wonderful design as well, to be able to create sets of cards that are similar but certainly not exactly the same. So as I finish up here, I just want to remind you, if you are not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you head out. And if you've enjoyed my video today, I would certainly appreciate a thumbs up. And I will leave some photos of these finished cards at the end of the video. So certainly I would love for you to stick around and take a look at those cards. And then here's a final shot of the cards for you. As you can see, they came out wonderfully. All a little bit different, but certainly the same design. All right, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed my quick video sharing with you this month's sheet loads of cards, and we will be back next month, of course, with another design by Call Me Crafty Al. All right, take care. We'll see you next time.